The chair recognizes the honourable member for Cartwright-L'Anse Clair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll just take a few minutes here to speak to Bill 47, an act respecting the relocation of certain communities in the province. And I thought perhaps it only fitting, Mr. Speaker, since I have a community. My colleague from Burgeo-Lapoil talked about having gone through this with some people in his district in the past and the impacts of that, and I'm living that right now. I have probably one of the most rural districts in the province, and a couple of communities that live on an island, and I may have more, is the sad reality, Mr. Speaker. We have aging demographics in the province. We have a shrinking population, 527,000 people that are spread right across the province. Lots of rural. And I might be a little bit biased, Mr. Speaker, but I think many of our rural communities are absolutely the most beautiful parts of the province, some of them right in my district. And right now we've got the community of Williams Harbour, beautiful little island in the middle of the ocean. People that have come from Williams Harbour have gone all over the world, Mr. Speaker, and become meaningful contributing members of society. The president of Nunatuavut Community Council would proudly tell you that he hails from the little community of Williams Harbour. But the reality is, right now we've got about 8–10 people left on that island. All senior citizens. Do people have a right to live where they want to live, Mr. Speaker? Absolutely they do. But do people have a right to the same level of service? Then that's not possible, no matter who's in government, I would say. So, you know, we're in the middle of helping Williams Harbour through the transition. We have a 6-page relocation policy that's in place, and relocation is still a very dirty word for a lot of people. There's a lot of emotion that comes with that. Things happened in the past that may not have been done right. We have a policy right now, Mr. Speaker, where the very first sentence must be community initiated and community driven. It's a big decision, so it has to be the community's decision. I think it was the words of Seminai in a song that said, they left without leaving and never arrived. And we're coming into the Christmas season, and we talk about all roads lead home at Christmas. Well, there's a little community in my district where the last of the people are voting right now, and they may very well will have their last winter in that community. They have a cod festival there every summer. We have a fantastic time. The population probably quadruples while we are there celebrating that golden cod from Gilbert's Bay, Mr. Speaker. But you know, the time has come. They're older. They don't have access to medical services. But what we're talking about here in Bill 47, an act respecting the relocation of certain communities, the bill would repeal and replace the Evacuated Communities Act. The bill would continue to provide a mechanism for the minister to declare a community to be an evacuated community. However, permits to erect or occupy a building in a vacated community would be required in those communities listed. And, Mr. Speaker, it is so important. That's exactly what I'm dealing with right now. People are saying, I understand, my dear, I have to go. There's nothing left, and we don't know about getting off the island and things like that. But will we be able to come back? And in my case right now, talking about Williams Harbour, this little island on the ocean, they want to go back, Mr. Speaker, in the summer. They want to pick their berries. They want to be able to get their fish for the winter in that little community. So I'm really pleased to be able to stand and support this bill to see that they will be able to get a building permit and go back to the place that they have always been attached to, Mr. Speaker. All of us here. When you say the word home, it conjures up different, and there's all kinds of songs in my head, but no, I say to my honourable colleague for Lab West, I'm not going to sing them, but I was thinking about Joe Diffie's song, More and More I'm Thinking that the only treasures that I've ever known are long ago and far away and wrapped up in my memories of home. And that's what we're talking about, Mr. Speaker, when we talk about relocated communities. It's difficult. It's difficult decisions, difficult for the people. No doubt some of these people will go, and they will never settle in that new community where they go. But they're being compensated. I'm pleased, Mr. Speaker, that the compensation of these people that are relocating, what they're getting right now is much, much more generous than they got one time. And so they should, Mr. Speaker. You know, we do a cost-benefit analysis, and you can see if there's a savings to government between, you know, what you're going to pay out and the service that's being provided. These people need to go, and they need to build houses and start a new life somewhere else. So it's important that they have the support to do that. But, Mr. Speaker, so that's all I just wanted to say. I'm pleased that the process is moving along for my constituents in Williams Harbour, some of the finest people that you'll ever see around, home of the Russells there, and the Larkhams and the Mr. Speaker. So they're just kind of a little bit in limbo, waiting to see if they're going to be there another winter or if they're going to get out. So I'm really pleased that Bill 47 will allow them to return back to the home of their childhood and where they were, you know, born and raised. A lot of people have already gone, Mr. Speaker, because what happens when you close the school in a community, and then people have to go and put their kids in school in neighbouring towns, but always they want to go back to that place they call home, and this Act would allow them to do that. So I'm very pleased to be able to support this Act, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity.